Welcome to Tales from the Forgotten Past, true stories of courage, conflict, and survival from early America. Let's begin. Today, we're doing a deep dive into a pretty incredible event, actually. The Black Tom Island explosion. It happened right there in Jersey City, New Jersey.
That's right. And Black Tom, well, it wasn't just some random island. It was absolutely central, pivotal, really, for the Allied war effort in World War One.
Even before the U.S. officially jumped in.
Oh, yeah, definitely. It was basically the main pipeline, the artery for shipping American-made munitions, explosives, all that stuff across the Atlantic to Britain and France. Think of it like this huge, crucial logistics point.
A massive supply hub. And then in 1916, something pretty dramatic happened.
Dramatic is one word for it. German saboteurs, agents, managed to infiltrate the facility, which is kind of amazing when you think about the security you'd expect.
Right. And they didn't just, cause minor damage. They detonated. What was the figure again?
Over 2 million pounds.
2 million pounds of ammunition and explosives. Just staggering.
Absolutely staggering. The sources we looked at, historical accounts and reports, they paint a picture of just chaos.
So our mission today, for you listening, is to really unpack that, understand the immediate blast, the shock waves, but also the longer-term fallout from this single act of sabotage.
And what made Black Tom such a prime target? Why there?
Well, location was everything, wasn't it? It was this artificial island, right, in New York Harbor.
Exactly. Purpose-built, really, with extensive docks perfect for loading those transatlantic ships. The sheer volume of war material passing through was immense.
And maybe the security wasn't quite what it should have been compared to, say, a proper military base?
That seems likely. Maybe a bit more focused on logistics than counterintelligence or physical security at that point.
Sure.
Probably looked like a high-value, maybe even a somewhat softer target compared to others.
High value, high impact. You said it, the explosion itself, the accounts describe it as just enormous.
Oh, colossal.
Yeah.
It wasn't just felt nearby. Windows shattered across Manhattan, parts of Brooklyn. People felt the shockwaves, believe it or not, as far south as Philadelphia. Some reports even mention Maryland.
Wow. Hundreds of miles. It's hard to even wrap your head around that kind of force from conventional explosives back then.
It really is. And one of the most iconic, sort of symbolic casualties of the blast was the Statue of Liberty.
Right, I read that. What exactly happened there?
The explosion sent shrapnel flying across the harbor. Hundreds of pieces peppered the statue. The most significant damage was actually to the torch, the arm holding it.
Serious structural damage.
Yeah, quite serious.
Yeah.
So serious, in fact, that they had to close the torch to public access. And the fascinating thing, the really striking thing,
It's still closed.
it's still closed today, ever since 1916. Think about that. A decision made over a century ago because of this one act of sabotage still affects every single visitor to Lady Liberty.
That's incredible. It really drives home the lasting physical impact. What about the human cost and other immediate effects?
Well, tragically, lives were lost. Sources vary on the exact number, but several people were killed, including a police officer and the barge captain. And the property damage, beyond the statue, was immense. Warehouses destroyed, railroad cars obliterated, nearby immigrant housing on Ellis Island damaged. Millions of dollars in damage back then, which would be
Millions today, probably.
easily. And beyond the physical destruction, it had other effects too, right?
Yeah.
Politically.
Oh, absolutely. This was 1916. The U.S. wasn't in the war yet, but tensions were high. An act of sabotage like this on American soil?
It definitely poured fuel on the fire. It really ramped up anti-German sentiment across the country. You could argue it nudged public opinion, maybe even the government, closer towards eventually entering the war the following year.
And it must have triggered a security rethink.
You better believe it.
Mhm.
It was a massive wake-up call about domestic vulnerability. Security measures at ports, factories, railways, especially those handling war materials, were significantly tightened after Black Tom.
Okay, so immediate destruction, loss of life, damage to a global icon, political shifts, security upgrades. But the story didn't just end in 1916, did it? There was the whole question of accountability.
Right. That took a very, very long time to resolve. Suspicion fell on German agents almost immediately, based on intelligence and investigations. But proving it officially and getting Germany to accept responsibility, that was another matter entirely.
Decades, wasn't it?
Decades. It became this long, drawn-out legal and diplomatic battle. It wasn't until 1953, after World War II, that West Germany finally agreed, formally, to pay reparations for the sabotage.
And even then, the payments took years.
Yeah, the settlement was for around $50 million, a huge sum. But the final installment wasn't actually paid until 1979. Think about that, 63 years after the explosion.
That whole protracted process really speaks volumes about, I guess, international law, wartime actions, and the difficulty of holding nations accountable for covert operations.
It certainly does.
Okay, so let's try and pull the threads together for everyone listening. We've got the Black Tom explosion, a huge, deliberate act of sabotage during wartime.
Over 2 million pounds of explosives detonated, crippling a vital supply line for the Allies.
Massive immediate damage across the region, shockwaves felt hundreds of miles away, and incredibly lasting damage to the Statue of Liberty's torch, keeping it closed even now.
Plus, the political impact contributing to the U.S. entry into WWI, and then this decades-long saga for reparations from Germany.
For me, the real aha moment here, the thing that really sticks, is that link you mentioned. A munitions depot explosion in New Jersey directly leading to a permanent change on a global symbol like the Statue of Liberty.
Exactly. It's that unexpected connection, isn't it? How something that feels like a localized wartime incident can have these incredibly long-lasting, far-reaching consequences that touch something so iconic.
And for you, listening in, wanting to grasp historical insights quickly, this story of Black Tom Island is a perfect example. It shows the vulnerabilities, the hidden impacts, the complex aftermath of conflict, all wrapped up in one event.
It really makes you wonder, doesn't it, how many other incidents, maybe dismissed as minor or just local news at the time, have had these kinds of profound, unexpected ripple effects across history. What other forgotten stories are out there shaping the world we live in today in ways we don't even realize?
A fascinating thought to leave you with. That's all the time we have for this deep dive.
Join us next time on Tales from the Forgotten Past.